What's up guys, this is anime crossover and I'm back with another episode of What If Naruto was the King of Fighters Part 3. And if you did enjoy this video, give this video a like, and if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more crossover fictions with a twist. Now let's begin this new video.
Chapter 9 Naruto's mind finally came back into focus after a day, and things started to fall into order. Before meeting his new staff, he took a walk through Tokyo to gather his thoughts. He had no idea how he had ended up in this realm. Through a gateway, he had been pursuing a person. Kyuubi wasn't there. His physique was more robust, and his speed was constrained. He just had a dream about an Akatsuki native who attacked with a shockwave-like assault that covered a wide area. On a scale of 1 to 100 that seemed fairly fucked, Naruto considered his own facial expression and intonation. Such visions weren't common to him. Instead, he frequently dreamed about the darkness, Kyuubi, ramen, or being the Hokage. One thing about dreams was that they were illogical and random, and you hardly recalled them when you woke up. The guy wasn't someone he knew, and this one was too clear to be a dream. That suggests that he was truly missing some memories or that the memory was false in the first place. What location did they battle in? From his expression, I deduced that it was Konoha, and probably not just any metropolis. Either someone implanted false memories inside of me, or trauma caused me to forget, the person said. I recall jumping through a portal is the last thing I remember, so it wouldn't make sense if it were false. If I accept the conclusion as a whole, I most likely forgot as a result of the trauma. My memories have disappeared and are gradually returning in fragments as my subliminal mind is keeping me from giving into it. Slowly, Naruto pieced everything together, and a harsh truth became apparent. This man most certainly destroyed Konoha, but it was unclear how he got here. Why was he still living after the beast was captured? Who made it out alive? I would not be here if they hadn't survived. I might have arrived here as a result of Kakashi's talent. Since it is a space-time ninjutsu, this could be the outcome if something went awry with it. Now that we've agreed to this, let's maintain our optimistic attitude. Before his depression reared its ugly head once more, Naruto took deep breaths to settle himself. Jiraiya was able to persuade Naruto to examine himself, face the darkness within, and confront the loneliness, pain, and rage that had been accumulating throughout his existence. The outgoing him was his method of coping with the darkness inside of him that wanted him to sink, wanted him to murder himself to stop this pain, or wanted him to kill everyone to fill the hole. Since that time, he has resolved to never again turn a blind eye to his suffering because doing so is selfish and will only lead to future suffering. They are still alive, but if Akatsuki has the Kyuubi, they are in danger right now. Although I'm sure they can live, I should return sooner rather than later because otherwise they might all perish. The maximum period should be 2 years. If they take the safe route, they can certainly make it that long. In front of an electronics store, where TVs were playing the Spider-Man movie, Naruto came to a halt. He chose to disregard the situation where there was a time difference between the two worlds because it had both a positive and a negative side that he had no way of knowing at the time, so it was better not to express it and add to his stress over things he couldn't control. In my recollections, I recently went to the movies. The quality of movies in this universe intrigues me. Naruto liked watching action films mixed in with some comedy or romance. He didn't like horror movies because the monsters didn't scare him enough to make his pulse race. Only the general populace found it enjoyable, and it didn't truly work on any ninja. People from various backgrounds were present throughout the movie, and the action sequences were all based on true events with a few minor alterations. So, seeing what the common people had produced using their better tech could be enjoyable. Although they already had electricity, radios, computers, guns, trains, cameras, TVs, game systems, and more, the ninja world was technologically behind this world but not by much. Since ninja traveled more quickly than these things and didn't require them, they were without cars. The fact that there was still war made them unsafe for the populace as well. Many of these things didn't exist because the nations were constantly at war and focused their attention on magical abilities rather than technology as a result. Due to their extensive study into biological enhancements or bloodline replication, medical sciences in the ninja world were much more advanced than in other societies. Right, I should remember to unwind or I risk damaging my body. As soon as Naruto thought of Jiraiya's advice on leading a balanced existence, his thoughts diverted from becoming more focused. He should stick to the original plan, learn things at a moderate pace, cover topics from this world, develop his leadership skills as wanted, and travel the world. Working out all day wasn't going to help him. Eliza was aware of his intended victims, allowing him to discuss them with her and formulate strategies for subduing the opposition. He wouldn't require more than a single hand sign for each of his jutsu after 2 months of training if he continued his regular training regimen. Since he had practiced with these drawbacks, his control was excellent now that they were gone. Choosing to see the bright side, Naruto stretched before returning to the location to meet up with Madgear. The gang had gathered and was waiting for Naruto in a fairly laid-back manner on the roof of King's Bar. They were used to it because it wasn't the first time they had switched leaders. "Do you really believe that poison will be effective? What is the verdict now that you stayed the night with him?" Rolento questioned one of the men who was the team's most intelligent and perceptive member. The remaining men were all about strength. Since he didn't hold grudges, he politely took the defeat because the adversary was too powerful. He had no desire to battle him once more. Although there was no way out because Naruto had already marked them, knowing more about the boss is always useful because it will help him act properly. Unlike the others, who only liked eating and fighting, he wasn't as careless. He and the girls shared a desire to enjoy an affluent lifestyle, regardless of where that affluence came from. The girls were sluts for power. They would do anything for it, and keeping their employer as a devoted slave was of no consequence to them.
He is a virgin who values emotions and chastity greatly. In order to prevent being ignored, you guys should avoid talking about these subjects. He is extremely observant, and even while sleeping, his risk level doesn't decrease. My legs gave out as I considered attempting to kill him because the threat he posed to me had grown so great.
Just keep in mind that although he appears casual, he is a monster in human flesh, and we haven't seen him engage in combat yet. Roxy sat on the wall sucking on a lollipop as Poison spoke while smoking and watching the city from the top. When they learned this, they weren't shocked because they expected it. Otherwise, Poison wouldn't have perished while trying to attack Naruto while he slept. Jiraiya had spent 2 years teaching Naruto how to respond while he was unconscious because the man constantly assaulted him. King may have given him advice, but Naruto was very perceptive to danger, and the only thing worth listening to was about not letting yourself become too vulnerable. Understood. Moving forward, we're going to concentrate on legal matters. Most likely, but if it doesn't hurt the populace, we can sneak in some shady tactics because he doesn't care about stealing and other such things. I was considering starting a legal company by sneaking in some machines and other things. Although it takes longer than just simply stealing it and having fun, this might be entertaining. Mad Gear and Company. Ha ha ha. As she whirled around to face them, Poison grinned. She realized someone must have been standing behind her at that precise instant because she didn't see them laughing. I agree that's a fine idea, but let's make the money by competing in a contest or battle. All of us are fighters, so let's use our heritage to justify staying. As he landed on the wall after leaping from the telephone tower, Naruto said with a smile. What is your objective, boss? If we are aware of it, we can act more effectively than by passively waiting for your orders. Roxy questioned as she delightedly observed. She had changed from her short denim trousers to orange knee-length shorts and a black top that exposed her tattooed rose with thorns on her belly button. Poison altered her approach as well after learning that upsetting him might not be the best course of action and that he might not enjoy showing off his possessions to others. They needed to meticulously assess his tastes and win his heart if they were to pique his interest. Given that he seems to understand how others are feeling, they may have to genuinely begin to like him. They were prepared to take the risk in exchange for a fun, prosperous existence. I want to master dimensional flight and become the strongest. I want to take down individuals like Akuma and compel them to provide me with the information. My main objective is to achieve that, but I also want to develop my leadership abilities and help my group succeed in the outside world because I see myself leading my people in the future. I am the Uzumaki clan's 4th and future 6th lords of Konoha's son, as well as a member of the Uzumaki family. Konoha is a ninja community, to be precise. What do you believe, guys? This road will be exciting and challenging, full of opportunities and peril. In his enthusiastic response, Naruto talked about his goal. Unlike his previous dream where he wished to become Hokage so that people would like him, this one was fulfilled. He desired becoming the Hokage in order to ascend to the summit and utilize these tools to transform the world into the one he desired. The route Jiraiya had taken was constrained, and he realized that a force, not just one person, was required to bring about peace and order. When given the opportunity to bring about world peace, Hashirama and Madara opted for egotism and prejudice. Once Hashirama stood up for the common man and accepted the first Hokage post that had been promised to him, Madara gave in to his hatred. He forfeited a once-in-a-millennium opportunity for peace by not causing deaths and by allowing disputes to end for a while before being assassinated by an unidentified force. In order to assert his supremacy, Madara would never have chosen such a path, but Hashirama could have controlled that, and the two of them could have worked together to create a utopia. To learn from their models, Naruto learned about these two in the Sage of Six Path. For a while, the sage had established global peace, but he had not created a force that could sustain it in the absence of him. The largest warring fires in human history were started by his kids. They shared the same perspectives on life as Hashirama and Madara did. Both could have kept the harmony their father had established. However, the younger brother refused to kill the older brother because he had lost, which led to a civil conflict. Jiraiya had warned him against making mistakes like these because Sasuke might also choose to follow the road of destruction. Itachi and a Madara faker, the perpetrator of the Kyuubi rampage, had massacred his tribe. Hirazen's weakness in allowing Danzo to survive after so many betrayals led to this. Hirazen was responsible for this atrocity even though he was not personally involved, as Danzo was only able to cause trouble and have an impact on Itachi's impressionable mind because Hirazen was too weak. Itachi was a serious and intelligent man, but in the end, he was just a young man who carried a heavy load inside. He was undecided as to whether to support his clan in the uprising or defend Konoha when Hirazen's slow reaction and conciliatory demeanor caused him to lose hope. Everyone with a sense could see that the revolt would undoubtedly fail. The Uchiha would get slaughtered while totally tarnishing their reputations in history because they were not powerful enough to defeat all the clans. In his state of weakness, Danzo then approached him and gave him the command to execute them in order to protect Konoha. When fake Madara offered him the same, the whispers of the demon were further confirmed, and once he heard that, there was no turning back. It is clear that Jiraiya was aware of these events because Itachi had discussed his regrets and feelings of shame with him while they were still co-workers. Naruto realized that not everything is as it seems and that while being kind is important, there should be boundaries. Even though you could have solved the issue better, if you don't put on a strong front and inspire faith in your team, they will make mistakes. Will you murder Sasuke if you have no other option? Jiraiya's closing lesson to him was, I will kill him if I have no other option and he has fallen too far. Naruto came to that decision after hearing and absorbing Jiraiya's advice. The man felt bad for every innocent life lost because of the snake because he had lived with the regret of never killing Orochimaru when he had the opportunity. Naruto vowed to never make the same errors again because Jiraiya would suffer if he didn't kill the snake to free his father from this guilt. His existence was no longer solely his. It would be a disservice to the people he called family and friends if he allowed this existence to be cut short or to suffer because he had a bond with them and they cared about his well-being. Due to Kurama, his blood's natural ability to empathize had grown, which improved his ability to bond with others. He did it unintentionally and hadn't known he was doing it before. He understood their pain and shared his pure emotions to them. The same thing occurred to Gaara and Sasuke. He had formed connections with many individuals on his journey and was aware of their darkness. Not everyone had good qualities deep down. Some people didn't even deserve to survive. Naruto was prepared to embrace and complete the road that his father figure, his father, had walked as he recognized this path as his own. His steps were confident and straight as he could see the route ahead. He embraced all the dangers and suffering that would come with it without even a hint of hesitation in his spirit. He had vowed to fulfill the goal no matter how challenging it became because this pain was too great and he didn't want others to experience it. Of course, in contrast to others before him, he chose to travel this route with friends and family so that it would be a joyful experience and less stressful mentally because you had no one to speak to you. They were shocked as they listened to him speak because none of them had thought Naruto would actually be a ninja and come from an aristocratic family. They had encountered ninja like Guy and Ibuki, and other fodder ninja, but all of them were different than Naruto in their manner of appearance and talk. He wanted to walk in the light and had utter faith in his ability to do so. They came to this conclusion because other samurai operated covertly while he made an effort to engage in public combat. This is much better than we expected, someone said. Yes, I believed he to be one of those individuals similar to Ryu. Poison and Roxy discussed this and agreed that his potential was simply too great to be limited by his objectives. No other fighter in the world could contend with him at that age because he was only 16. Will you look after us, boss? How will you handle your servants? Poison posed the most crucial query. They wanted to know if he would treat them like priceless weaponry or use them as pawns to be tossed aside. If you correctly follow me, I'll treat you like family. I'll hit someone if they assault you. I will assist you in overcoming your pain. If you follow my rules, I won't let you suffer and will give you the rewards you earn. If not, you will receive the appropriate punishment. When asked a question, Naruto responded truthfully and, for the first time, let out a killing intent so intense that, had they been ordinary people, their hearts would have burst. The environment was impacted and became heavier for them as a result, resulting in the spread of cracks on the earth. Fortunately, he quickly halted, or else the pressure he had created might have made it difficult for them to breathe and caused the roof to collapse. As a result of karma, Naruto had a strong killing purpose that had such effects. This led people to think that he had massacred a great number of people, which caused them to poop their pants. "Understood, boss. Don't show us that again," was the response. As she caught herself, Poison muttered, feeling more admiration than ever for Naruto's power. However, she wasn't masochistic enough to want to go through that again. Even worse than Akuma's presence was this. I had assumed he was a saint or something, but it turns out he was just a monster who had become a saint. I won't ever display it to you again, so don't worry. Naruto appeared between the ladies and gave them hugs as he said with a soft smile. Now disperse and collect information for me about contests or battles. If you have specific goals, we can also talk about any additional ideas you may have. Mention any potential recruits you may know, and we'll decide what to do with them. We're going to make your wrestling band famous, and I'll work on a means to make it interesting. The rest of you can leave now, and Abby and Hugo will follow me. We'll meet back here when I call, or at 5 o'clock precisely. He kissed the ladies on the cheeks and released them after saying that. They were taken aback by his method of operation because they hadn't anticipated him to be so deft and sensitive. He did it to convey that he was providing them the opportunity to get to know him better and that the outcome now depended on them. "Yes, boss." The group immediately leapt off the roof without saying a word because they needed to demonstrate results right away. Roxy shouted with enthusiasm. At the conclusion of the day, they will have more information about the future. How was he going to react to what they did? On the back of 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 the back, they reportedly owned a facility where they practiced and even conducted competitions, but due to their disreputable past, not many people had shown up. Criminal records were detrimental to company. Naruto arrived at the location and could see the gym in the underground arena where the matches were conducted. It appeared decent and tidy from the outside, and it was similarly clean inside. He could tell they had spent money making it a nice location. The issue was that they weren't in charge of it, weren't teachers, didn't employ anyone, and people were already aware of their history. The core members of Mad Gear were particularly well known, but the small fry had managed to blend into society because no one recalls fodder unless they were defeated by it. Naruto asked as he sat down in the office and the giants appeared in front of him. "Okay, explain the situation." Despite not knowing what was about to happen, Abby and Hugo had hopes after hearing about Naruto's upbringing. They didn't know him, but his charisma, strength, and self-assurance gave them hope for a brighter future, just as Poison had said. "Even if this doesn't work, we still have strength on our side." Abby reasoned that while everything else might let you down, strength never betrays your efforts. "As you can see, people dislike us, so the place is usually empty. Even when there are matches, fewer people show up, particularly since we haven't been able to invite other fighters." "Have you tried getting people to like you?" Naruto asked as he glared at him. When Abby heard those words, he immediately came to mind as a violent thug who would beat people, destroy things, curse them, and threaten to kill them. I never considered that." Hearing such a straightforward question that he could never have thought of, Abby responded with a nervous laugh. Simple humanity had escaped him because they were so accustomed to being assholes. "Alright, I understand your issues, let's remake your picture. People need to understand that we are now the good ones. You folks have a bad reputation, but I have a good one, so once people find out about it, they'll be interested. We'll spread the word about me. When we can, we'll assist individuals. We will host games that will entice visitors to return, and we'll have instructors for the gym goers. You people are strong, but you don't currently have the ability to teach. If you want to learn how to teach, start by taking a student." "But boss, how are we going to reach other combatants? Do they really intend to visit you? Will you engage in combat?" Hugo was a quiet man who only occasionally spoke when necessary, and Abby questioned him as he nodded in agreement. "They will arrive, but we won't need them because I'll train warriors for you to use instead." With a snap and a single motion of his left palm, Kakashi's clone materialized as Naruto grinned. They had never experienced anything like this before, so they were both taken aback by this talent. Hugo poked the chest with his outstretched palm and said, "It's real." Hearing his whisper, Abby turned to gaze at Naruto in disbelief because he had such a strong ability that allowed him to summon an army whenever he desired. "How powerful is it, boss? Are you the strongest individual in your community?" "It depends on how much energy I expend to create it, but it is as strong as I am and knows everything I know. I am currently the third strongest person in my community, and when my training is complete, I will surpass all other living people in strength." As he stood up and patted his clone on the back, Naruto responded in an assured manner. Even with his limitations, Naruto was the third strongest individual in Konoha after the training, so he wasn't lying. He was only stronger than Tsunade and Jiraiya, and Kakashi's chances of victory were currently only 40%. Guy could certainly defeat the man, but he needed to unlock the gates above the third, which Naruto could do to halt the process and defeat the man before he gained the upper hand. He was the third strongest person in terms of total base strength, and once Sage Mode was mastered, he would likely defeat them with ease. Even now, his strongest move can one-shot anyone, and it is getting stronger as his chakra mastery and elemental affinity develop. He couldn't use Rasen Shuriken until he had determined the opponent needed to die because it was a kill or be killed move. There was also the constraint on the battleground, where he had to be cautious of nearby objects and people because it had a broad impact. Because of his edge in speed in the Sharingan, Sasuke still outperformed him in terms of strength. Sasuke had been promised power by Orochimaru, and the man kept his pledge because Sasuke amassed power far beyond his natural capacity. His body had been changed to have more durability and strength as well as a healing component. These were his benefits over Naruto, but the snake was able to offset them, and as a result, his chakra reserves were still significantly lower than his. Even so, Kakashi had 3 times more chakra than him, while Kakashi had more chakra than the typical ninja but was constrained by his own Sharingan. He was serious when he said that combatants could be created because Naruto had mastered a variety of fighting techniques to develop his original clone Fu and had also acquired other elemental jutsu due to his abundant reserves. Although Naruto's primary strength was with the wind, he also knew a few jutsu from other schools to use when required and as a guide for the wind style because he could improve it if he understood them. Additionally, it was done to prevent being weakened during a battle because occasionally an element was useless or ineffective. For example, using darkness to combat demonic creatures was essentially giving them more power, and expert elemental users have also been known to deflect or cancel assaults. Due to the scarcity of elemental masters, Naruto had witnessed it with Jiraiya when he activated Sage Mode. Without even defeating Naruto's fire jutsu with his own, he had used the fire orb against him. Abby and Hugo heard that remark and said, "Damn, Naruto was already so powerful but this thing was strong as him. How are the battles going to go, boss? I'll make them weaker for you guys, so you'll have to fight and attempt to win. My teacher's name is Kakashi. Jiraiya, my master, is this. Asuma, Choji, Hiruzen, Zabuza, and Naruto are present." Since accuracy wasn't that important, Naruto created clones of each one of them individually so he could somewhat mimic their combat techniques. The two were now feeling happy because they felt like they had hit the jackpot as they watched all these various people come into view. "Is that the boss?" Abby glanced at Naruto and noted that it appeared to be a clone. "I don't have any brothers, so no, I am a widow. I created a female shape because I enjoy playing with people, and that is how it appears. Be cautious where you look. Okay, I don't like people staring at my physique with disgust," Naruto joked as Naruto approached his side.
Her golden hair was styled in twin tails, and she was sporting a black pair of shorts and an orange blouse. She embodied the perfect beauty Naruto had created to seduce men.
"We won't do that, of course." Shaking his palms, Abby turned his head away from Naruto.
Calm down, I was joking. Returning to the subject, the internet is a fantastic tool for spreading the word about who we are.
Naruto said that other dojos probably did the same thing because he knew how to use the fighter's website for his purposes. Since the website has a reputation to uphold, it was a place where people could watch fights of high quality rather than some trash street fight. You only need to appeal to their interests to reach the target audience that is already gathered on this site. In just one day, Naruto had developed a fanbase, and many people were interested in learning more about him and his background. They were already speculating and debating potential battles with other combatants. Even if they didn't engage with the public, every powerful person had a large following. The man himself always hid from them because he didn't like crowds, despite the fact that Ryu was well known and had millions of admirers who adored his style and everything else. Terry had fun with his followers because he was accustomed to large groups and because he was a gregarious person. Even though Kyo Kusanagi had fans before he became well-known, he still took pleasure in them as he gained them. Each fighter had a unique set of responses and goals, some of them had commercial objectives. The girls and fighters of Mad Gear were also well-known, but only bad individuals followed them. Even then, if they know how to use it, they might be able to draw in those individuals, and if you make the movie pay to view, you could even make money off of it. The entire video was not accessible for free viewers on this website. Due to her participation in the earlier KOF tournament alongside Mai Shiranui and Chizuru Kagura, King also made money from all of her prior fights. While other teams either had one or no female players, it was the only girls' squad competing in the tournament. After giving them time to process, Naruto commanded his clones to follow him as he moved toward the gym's entryway. Opening the entrance to the chaos of the city, Naruto appeared to be a gangster with the giants and his clones trailing behind him. Even without saying a word, they attracted attention, and by the time Naruto and his gang left, many people had taken note of them. "Hello my good friends, ahem. Uzumaki Naruto is my name, and I think you saw me battle Zangief and Madgear. Many of you are curious about my background and what I do. The explanation is simple. I am a fighter trained from birth and come from a legendary clan. I want to have fun and compete against powerful opponents who have unique skills. I've chosen to assume control of Madgear and conduct some lawful business because I'm a leader in the making as well. These are all my subordinates, and together we will show you some amazing fights in our ring and teach you how to be powerful. If you are able, you can even join the battle against them or against me." As he walked the streets explaining in a cocky manner as if he owned the entire world, everyone came to a complete halt. All eyes were on him because he could no longer be ignored, and some had even begun recording him because this was such an unusual and fascinating event. Reikari was being used by the Kakashi clone, who also created lighting dogs around him. A small tornado was forming all around Asuma clone, who was causing the wind to speed up. The Zabuza clone displayed some of his blade prowess and brought about the appearance of mist. The Jiraiya clone used fire in his hair. Hiruzen employed a mudslide and an earth barricade. The maximum was reached by Choji's clone, who changed his body mass and even grew to be a giant of 5 meters. With the aid of her chakra, Naruto called chains from her storage and used them as her own appendages. Their memories of all of this were greatly enhanced by Naruto's speech, which could be heard for miles. "Come join us friends and let's have fun because today's battle is free." Naruto observed their facial expressions and was glad to see that his theatrical training had been useful. Turning around, Naruto walked to the underground arena purchased by Madgear. There was enough room for 500 individuals. People exchanged glances as the group entered as they had anticipated, and then a few intrepid souls followed, spreading the word. Set something up for it because the space might not be sufficient. Before sending a clone to handle the remainder, Naruto told Abby. Using the communication jutsu, he was in direct touch with it and knew everything that happened. Not terrible at all, in fact. More fascinating than I had anticipated. Standing above the gym's opposite structure, Eliza murmured. When he emerged with his clones, she had already arrived, and Naruto had seen her. She could tell that these were his clones, not some employees, unlike the others. "Thank you. Would you like a drink before we speak?" As he stood next to her and extended his hand, Naruto grinned. "Is this something? I figured you might be able to use my arm or forearm for it." Eliza chuckled as she observed him and realized what he was trying to say. "I could, but the outcome would be the same. Can you not remove it? You are aware of how difficult it is for a guy like me, who is healthy, to bear that sensation. I understand how frustrated you are, but I am powerless to make a difference. It is a normal occurrence." "Sigh. Let's get this over with," Naruto said as he fixed her with a direct gaze. He didn't dislike the sensation, but it only served to intensify his carnal cravings. He didn't have a partner, so the lefty was always responsible for taking care of it when it got too bad. Fortunately, he was never bothered by such things because he was always too busy, but now it was exploding due to Eliza's influence and the females around him. In the bathtub, he had to take care of himself. He had painted the walls white, so everything was a total mess. The Uzumaki were notorious for this, and Naruto's situation was made worse by Kurama. Kurama tipped the equilibrium of the yang energy, which stands for life and humanity. He had too much of it, and when it got to him, he had to consciously restrain himself from going insane with desire. In order to physically break himself out of the lust daze if it grew too severe, he had carved a pain seal onto his body. Jiraiya had previously revealed to him that his father frequently pretended to be absent from the house because his mother fully exhausted him. He did this to maintain his masculine dignity. You can always sleep with those lower beings if it is too difficult to bear. Eliza held him close, whispering. When she was this close, none of her warmth and touch, attractiveness, or her alluring eyes and lips could be disregarded. Although Naruto stared at her directly without feeling anything, he was aware that he would shortly react. "I don't want to bed anyone I haven't embraced as my lover. Without affection, sex is unnecessary." "Naruto, I can see that we are very similar in that situation. Ironically, for a being like me, since we are also known as sex demons, I have never found a companion and am still incredibly pure. It's the same for us because people of our kind aren't known for having such morals and would sex with anyone when necessary. But I don't like such things because love and sex should go together, not alone, the speaker said. Right, finding that we share some comparable thoughts is interesting. Sorry, Naruto, but I need to go get some water. We'll catch up later. Eliza said before sinking her fangs into his throat after kissing it. To be continued.
That's it for this podcast. Thanks for listening to this video. If you did enjoy this part of the story, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for having support and enjoy the rest of your day.